It's just so overwhelming. I don't know how I can be of any help." I had just completed speaking at a conference and was walking off the stage. A short break in the conference followed my talk, and I walked into a small group of attendees, waiting to ask a few more questions. A young woman broke from the group and asked if she could talk with me briefly. I knew from the look on her face that it was not going to be a brief encounter. The look could only be described as desperation, as if I were her last hope. I listened empathetically as she introduced herself and quietly asked her question. "Thank you for your talk, Ms. Warren. You've been able to work with leaders to drive change within your organization, but I find myself in a situation where I want to do more, but I don't have the abilities that you do, and I'm not at the level that you are to be able to drive change. What can I do?" It's a statement that I have heard frequently throughout my career as a diversity and inclusion leader. It's not uncommon for individuals to feel powerless in the face of trying to make a difference. They might feel encumbered by an out-of-touch manager, uninspired by the company's leaders, or worse yet, the environment in which they work is one that does not empower its employees. Together, these factors cause a barrier that can be challenging for employees working toward diversity and inclusion. But it is something that certainly can be overcome. As difficult as it may sometimes appear, in any organization, everyone must play a role in creating a diverse and inclusive work environment. It doesn't make a difference whether you work in a small company, a large company, a for-profit, a non-profit, a government agency, a private company, or a public company. All employees must feel that they have a role to play in creating the culture they would like to see where they work, or the needed change will not happen. Regardless of what you do within your place of work, you have a role in creating change. You may be an employee who does not manage people. You may be a first-line manager. You may be a senior leader, a human resources practitioner, or a person whose role is to lead diversity and inclusion within the company. Everyone has to play a role in driving diversity and inclusion across the workplace. A very wise mentor once told me years ago that the only thing that is constant is change. The ability to either drive or impact change is an advantage. In addition, having resilience to weather change is also critical. The changes we have already seen in the importance of diversity and inclusion to organizations, governments, communities, neighborhoods, schools, and society in general are only going to amplify in the future. I think it is important for people to know that the increase in diversity, equity, and inclusion is not something that is going away. It's not a crisis that you can weather by simply keeping your head down and waiting for it to go away. It is a part of who we are as individuals, and its growing importance is highlighted in a few ways. First, there are several global trends in diversity and inclusion that will impact all organizations in the future. The workforce of the future is going to increase in diversity globally, across all dimensions of diversity. Each generation is more diverse, more interconnected, and more blended culturally than any generation before it. The global migration of people from country to country also contributes to a more globally diverse workforce. Second, economic inclusion will continue to grow in importance. Economic inclusion means that all consumers have access to safe, affordable financial products and services. Companies will need to understand the role they play in ensuring that their products and services and external partnerships contribute to closing the gap of financial inequality that exists across the globe due to political, economic, and social conditions. Third, corporate social activism will increase as a competitive advantage for companies. Years ago, topics such as religion and politics were not openly spoken of in the workplace. Also, corporations focused almost wholly on the bottom line, with social responsibility relegated to their philanthropic efforts. In this day and age, those unspoken rules aren't tenable in the workplace. In fact, with the awakening we see in the workforce and in the world, they aren't even possible. Employees and candidates want to know they are working for a company that has the same values and standards they have as individuals. And social responsibility has moved beyond the corporate responsibility department within companies.